Okay guys, good morning. So this is what I do in the morning. I would have my coffee and then just admire my orchids for a little bit before I get the craziness of the day started. And this orchid in the back is the star of the show today. When I purchased the orchid, it was already in spike, but it was sort of at the tail end of the blooming cycle. So I only had a couple of orchids in bloom, and then when the bloom dropped, I thought the spike was done. But unlike a lot of other orchids that typically struggle in my home environment, this one just seemed to be thriving. And look what it's doing here. So it seemed to grow 1, 2, 3 new spike out of the old spike, and here is a entirely new spike, and I am seeing another little spike coming out from here as well. So it just seemed to be so happy here. This is a chocolate colored orchid. I don't have a photo of it. I'll see if I can find a picture to put in the video, but this is the name of it. It's Falfame Sweet and OX Blackface. And I'm really looking forward to see this orchid rebloom. And right here, this is my Fel Sogo Diamond. This was a purchase from a year ago, I believe. And it is finally spiking, guys. I'm so excited. And look at how healthy the root is. So I've seen Sogo Diamond not blooming out to be as pictured. So I am waiting to see how this one blooms out, because I am doing a trade with an orchid friend of mine. And so I'm just waiting to see if this bloom out correctly. Or is that a word? And then we will do a trade. So I'm really looking forward to that. So if this one blooms out all right, then it is pretty much spoken for. And I am in the process of moving all my cat-like orchids from outdoors to indoors, because I really don't have a good outdoor space. So the last winter they stayed outside and under a heavily shaded tree, so they really didn't do well, and you can see there is some deformity on 2 of the new growths. So I decided that now I'm going to move the orchid indoors. This is a Lily Anceps that I got from Ruben in Sunset Valley, and it's absolutely gorgeous. But I think the new growth that's just coming out seems to be doing okay. So I'll keep my eyes on this orchid to see how it performs this year, and hopefully fingers crossed that I'll get some bloom this year. And this one is the Norman's Sweet Twinkle. This is one of my favorite orchid. It's a very reliable bloomer. I hardly need to do anything, and it just, you know, one spike finished blooming, and then very soon after I'll get a new spike. So I adore this orchid so much. And this one, I really don't have much information on this orchid. I think I may have lost a tag, and then it was forgotten outside. And since I'm in the process of moving my orchids indoors, so I thought this is a good space because they seem to have ample light. So I grow in my tiny little living room, and I really struggle with space. So now I'm starting to hang them on the ceiling. But I do enjoy, I think this is a good spot for it. And here we have Haojin Fancy, and this is a orchid I purchased 2 years ago, I believe, and I survived all the lack of experience and the beginner struggle that I had, and now it's reblooming for me, so I'm super excited. It seemed to have finally adjusted to my home environment. Sometimes it takes up to like a year for the orchid to just kind of settle in. And this is a similar one. This is also a red orchid, and this is called the American Beauty Candy Apple, and it is blooming out of a old spike. I'm really surprised that the old spike can have so many blooms. So this is see, there's even something growing off the top, which sometimes people say, oh, because these have bloomed, nothing will happen. But I'm getting a lot of new growth here, which is really fun. So these will bloom any day now. I would say maybe a couple weeks from now for sure. And behind it, this is a polaric version of the candy apple, and look at the size difference. I'm not sure. I kind of delayed repotting this one, so maybe that made a difference. It's hard for me to know because I purchased these not too long apart, so not sure why this is so much bigger than the other one. And right here is the Mutual Jigen Dragon Lychee. I believe this is the first time it blooms, because when I purchased this a while back, it did have a bloom, but I think the bud dropped. So hopefully I will be able to see this one fully bloom. And this is a orchid that's in rehab. So sometimes when I bring a new orchid home, they seem to really struggle. Obviously, our home environment is not as good as the nursery. So this is the Victoria, it's the Victoria's Lace Moulin Rouge, and it's one of the most beautiful polaric orchid I have. But I noticed after I got it home that all the roots have rotted. And so this is what I'm doing. I just let it sit loosely on top of the medium. So it's not, as you can see, all the roots are pretty much dead. And now it is bouncing back. If you just give it a little bit of time, you can see new roots coming in. There's new roots coming in the back as well. And I just watered this, so it's obstructing the view a little bit. And a new leaf is sprouting out. So so this one is recovering. Pretty confident that it'll do okay. This is a no ID orchid I purchased from Norman's Orchid last year at their open house. So it is reblooming now. So a lot of the orchids I purchased a year ago, they are blooming. And this one is Falfome Black Piano. It's absolutely spectacular. I can't even speak when I look at it. It's just so gorgeous. This was a tiny little seedling I purchased 2 years ago, and it came in a 2-inch pot. It's one of the tiniest orchid I own, and over 2 years I repotted it a couple of times, and now it's finally blooming. I was very nervous the entire time when the spike was forming, because I was not sure if it would bloom out exactly like this, but it did. So 3 blooms for the um, first time. So I'm very pleased with this orchid. And here is another orchid. This is something I got not too long ago. This is called Fell SpongeBob, and it has a really fun name. Again, this is a polaric orchid. I do notice that as the bloom opened for a while, the yellow seemed to have faded a little bit. So the new bloom um, was a tiny little more saturated in color compared to now. Okay, last but not least, these two orchids. The yellow orchid was a Home Depot purchase from about 2 years ago, and it finally bloomed for me. So this orchid and I have been through all my beginner orchid struggles, and to my surprise, not only has one spike, but it branched out at 2 places. As you can see, there's one branch, and here's another one. So once they completely bloom out, they should be quite beautiful to look at. And this one right here is Fell Fuller's Mask, and this is blooming entirely out of a old spike from last year. Now, I really did not get very good blooms from the old spike from the previous year, but somehow I got 7 blooms this year, so I'm very happy with it. I love how sharp the pattern looks. This dark purple chocolate color is kind of my favorite color orchid. So that's it, guys. That's all the orchid update I have for you for now. And thank you for checking back to my channel, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.